लितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। My very warm greetings to all of you in the GIT group of institutions, especially the College of Management, which is organizing this, and also to other students and faculty from other departments as well. It is a great pleasure for me to be in your midst today to speak on a very important topic of the importance and need of universal human values, especially for students. So this is a very important subject matter, and I'm glad that such topics are being discussed in the student community. As far as education is concerned, it is not merely a matter of learning some subjects. Whether it is some engineering subject or architecture or management or economics or accountancy, that is just one very small part of education. The real part of education is that we have to learn the proper values of life. So today I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation. The slides are not that many, but as we go on, I will be explaining the slides as we move on. So can we have the first slide? Yes. Next, please. So, if we want to actually make the world a better place and give joy and fulfillment to our students and empower them to give the same for others, we have to build the foundation of our education on human values. So, if we do not have human values, then education is simply just information. And if that information and knowledge is given to people who are without human values, then such information and education and knowledge will be the cause of great harm. The greatest harm in the world is being caused not by uneducated people. It is being caused by those who are highly educated. So education or knowledge is power, and power in the hands of a wrong person can create havoc. So therefore, in order that somebody can handle power nicely, then there must be some proper human values that are given to the students. So it is very important that value education be imparted also. Next, please. Okay, so here are some examples of some of the values. There are so many values like this. It is not possible for us to discuss all of them. There is unlimited number of values, but we'll be speaking only about a few. Next, please. So first of all, we will discuss what are values? Now, values are the basic and fundamental beliefs that we have that guide us or motivate us in our actions and attitude. So if somebody believes, for example, that for me, money is everything. If I get money, then I will be successful, I will be happy. Then it is more likely that this person will do anything and everything to get that money. So that will be his driving force. And other values will not have importance or that much importance in this person's life. So depending on what we consider is very, very basic to us, something very important to us, we cherish that and we think we should lead our life or guide our conduct according to that. So these values are the basic fundamental beliefs that motivate us not only in our actions but also the attitude. Ultimately, it is an attitude or a thought process that drives our actions. Our beliefs drive our attitudes, and our attitudes then drive our actions. So the values are the essential principles that we strive to live by. Everybody has some set of values. We may agree or disagree with somebody's set of values, but everybody, even the person who is most evil, that person also has some values which he thinks is okay. For example, he may have some values that at any cost I must earn money and it is okay to kill, it is okay to steal. That are his set of values. And that person strives to live by that. So the values that we have in our life, they reflect what is important to us in our life. In short, they provide the general guidelines for how we should live our life. So now that we have learned what are values, let us now discuss what are human values. Because values can be so many. They can be inhuman values that somebody may have. Somebody may think stealing, killing, yes, those are part of my values. But then are they truly human or not? So what does it mean to have not just values, but human values? So basic human values refer to those values which are at the core or essence of being human. They bring out the fundamental goodness of human beings and society at large. So this is a very important point. So unless the values that we have in our life bring out the goodness in us, they bring out some very beneficial aspect of our consciousness and personality, then those are not considered human values. Those are inhuman values. Those are values that we should strive to overcome, strive to give up, and we should cherish and we should imbibe very good values that will make us genuinely good human beings. But this is a very difficult word to understand, good. What does it mean to be good? Yes, what is good in one person's opinion may be bad in another person's opinion. So therefore, we have to look at something deeper. So those human values that we have, they will define our idea of success, happiness, prosperity, goodness, and general ethics. Today, one of the problems we see in our society is that because of excessive importance being given to money and to enjoyment, people start thinking that this is the goal of life. That if I have a lot of money, if I have the best of fashionable clothes, and I dress in a fashionable way, I have nice car, big house, and I can spend money here and there, that means my life is successful and I will be happy by doing this. But are these truly human values? It is not that earning money is bad, not at all. It is not even that being wealthy is bad. No, that is also not the case. The idea is, what is your approach? What is your attitude? What are the values that you have in your life? How do you deal with the money? Yes, I think somebody has to mute. Someone has to mute their microphone. Yes. Yes, next please. So, if we do not have those values which bring out the goodness in us, then are we really human at all? And because everything is so relative, because what is good for you may not be good for me, so we have to look at some frame of reference. We have to look at some standard which is good for all of us. Some source, that is some authority that is higher than all of us, and to which we should accept and follow. So there is a very nice and important shloka which some of you may have heard, but it is a very important shloka. Ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha samanyam etat pashubhi naranam dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhi samanaha. So, ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha, so eating, sleeping, mating, defending, samanyam etat pashubhir naranam. It is the same for pashu, for animal, as well as for nara, for human beings. However, there is one extra quality that is there in human beings, which is not found in the animals. What is that? That is dharma. Dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho. Adhikah visheshaha. So there is one extra special quality in human beings, that is dharma. So dharmena hinaha, so when one is dharma hina or without dharma, then pashubhi samanaha, then one is as good as an animal. So a human being without dharma is as good as an animal. So therefore, when we are looking at values that should be applicable for all of us, we have to look at what is dharma. But there are many misconceptions about this word dharma. So let us try to very briefly understand first of all what is dharma and what it is not. So first and foremost, dharma does not mean being a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or Jain or Sikh or this or that. Dharma does not mean that you belong to a particular caste or community or country, or you speak a certain language, or whether you are rich or poor. No. Dharma is not this. Even though in the normal language that we speak, people refer like this. He is from this dharma, that dharma, meaning some religion. But actually the word dharma has a very deep and broad meaning, connotation. And it is something that is universally valid. It is valid for everyone, everywhere, at all times. These are the principles of dharma. So it is not that principles of dharma are applicable only to one community or to one group of people. That is why dharma is such a difficult concept to understand, and people misunderstand it. So dharma, in simple terms, is our Indian perspective or concept of values. Dharma will give us what are the values that we should cherish in our life. So this is how we should see dharma. Let us see a few things more about dharma. So dharma is human behavior in accordance with universal order. You see, many of you are, at least those who are students of engineering and science, and also those who are students of humanities, at least till your 10th standard you have studied some science. So you know that this universe is going on according to certain laws, like the law of gravity, yes? So it is a law that is made there. And everything is going on in perfect order. The planets are moving around in their orbit. The sun is moving in its orbit. So in this way, there is great order in the universe. There are certain laws of nature that exist. And there are certain sustaining principles in nature, in the universe. So, therefore, dharma is that aspect of this universal order that is applicable to human behavior. So what is dharma? Dharma is essentially the application of universal principles of the functioning of the whole cosmos, that which maintains harmony, because the universe is in harmony. It is an active harmony, dynamic harmony. Things are moving, the planets are moving, everything is moving, the atoms also are moving. Within the atoms also the particles are, subatomic particles are moving. But in all of this there is a harmony. So we have to understand what is that underlying harmony. And when that harmony is then applied to human behavior, that is dharma. So dharma is defined as dharayati iti dharmaha. Dhri, it comes from the word dhri. Dhri means to dharana. So dharma is that which upholds everything, which holds up the universe. Yes. So we can say, you can call it gravity, you can call it this law, you can call it that law. So ultimately at the universal level, everything is being held up. So also, if we act, if our values and actions and attitudes are in accordance with, in harmony with this dharma, which is holding up everything, then we will become very happy and joyful. Then everything will become very peaceful. Thus, dharma supports and balances everything and brings harmony, prosperity and happiness. And it gives us a higher sense of purpose to our life. Otherwise, people are not aware. Many times I ask people, what is the goal of your life? And they may say, I want to become an engineer, I want to become a millionaire, I want to become whatever they may want to become. Well, then after that, what? So this question must be looked into also. That if we do not see a sense of purpose in our existence, then life becomes very hollow and meaningless. So those values that are based on dharma will give us that higher sense of purpose in our life, and they will bring harmony, prosperity and happiness, and they will balance everything. Remember, everything depends on balance. If the earth was even a little closer to the sun, we would have evaporated. We would have got burnt. If the earth was a little further away from the sun, we could have got frozen. So similarly, at the micro level or at the macro level, and even at our working level, even within the body, everything is dependent on balance. So, according to Ayurveda, they say Kapha, Vata, Pitta. If that is balanced, then we are healthy. In yoga theory, they say we have different prana vayus, subtle airs in the body which are responsible for the functioning of different organs, different systems like circulatory system, respiratory system. So if those pranas are balanced, then we are healthy and happy. So dharma, values based on dharma will bring balance and stability and steadiness in our life. They will give us higher sense of purpose and then joy also. Yes. So, how do we understand this knowledge of this dharma? So our ancient culture and scriptures teach us of many such dharmic values. As I mentioned earlier, that what is good or bad is a relative term, because we may all have different opinions on that. But if we have some standard frame, some standard by which we all agree and accept, yes, we will follow this standard. Just as in any country, there are laws that are made by the government. See, you and I, as citizens, we cannot make our own laws. Now the law is that you have to drive on the left side of the road. I cannot say that, no, I have decided that I will drive on the right side of the road. That is not possible. Individually, we cannot make our own laws. We have to follow the laws of the state, and if all of us follow the laws of the state, then there will be harmony, there will be peace and happiness. But if we do not follow, then there will be chaos. So, just as there is a standard, which is the laws made by the state, similarly, there is dharma. Dharma has come ultimately from God. And it is something that is universal, that is eternal, it has always been existing. So let us now see what are some of these dharmic values. There are many, many dharmic values, endless dharmic values. But today, because we have very little time, we can examine only a few of them. So let us see. Here are some of the values: truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, austerity, humility, respect to all, contentment, and later I will be giving you another short list of values also. So let us look at some of these qualities one by one. So what is the meaning of truthfulness? Truthfulness means that one should present facts as they are. One should live by the truth. One should first of all understand what is the truth and then to live by it. One should not misrepresent. One should also understand that truthfulness means to be honest. Speaking what is the fact. I will tell you a little story in this regard. One time there was a king, and this king did not have any children. So he was very much worried about who would be the next king after him. So he thought that he would open up and have a competition among the citizens of his kingdom. So he sent out a notice to everyone: whoever wishes to be the next king after me, you are welcome to put in your application. So many people put in their application, and they all came there very eager to be the next king. So the king wanted to test them. So then the first thing that he did was to give them each one seed. He told them, I want you to go with this seed, plant it in some soil, and then in a flower pot, and then after 1 month, I want you to come back, and whoever has the biggest plant will be the king. So they all went away with that seed in their hand, and after 1 month they came back. Somebody had a plant that was this big, somebody that this big. So in this way, so many people came. There was only one young man who did not have anything. He came empty-handed. So the king asked him, so what happened? You failed. You were not able to grow anything. So look at all these other people. They have grown so many things. He said, yes, I'm sorry, but I planted it in the soil. I watered it. I did everything possible, but it has not grown. I do not know why. So the king said, I appoint you as the Yuvaraj, as the crown prince, and you shall become the king after me. And everybody else was surprised. And then the king announced, he said, actually, all the seeds that I gave you were all bad seeds. They had been boiled and roasted. So they had no fertility in them. So all of you except this one young man have cheated. When you saw that nothing was growing, then you took another seed and you grew it. And you grew the plant. So therefore, in life, please remember that truthfulness is indeed very important. Do not think that because today it is a world of corruption, everybody today is, not everybody, but so many people today are, are very much concerned about this. And there is so much of corruption going on everywhere because people are not honest. So remember that wherever you are, ultimately your destiny will give you whatever amount of wealth that you have. Your success, wealth will be determined according to your destiny. So do not resort to any illegal and unethical acts to gain your money. Live your life according to Satyam, which is truthfulness. The second quality is cleanliness, Shaucham. Cleanliness means that you should be clean from outside and from inside. So this is of important value. So being clean from outside means, as obvious as this may sound, but it is important to say it, that we must take a bath every day, and we must take it early in the morning, and if necessary at other times in the day also, whenever there is a need. And we must wear clean clothes. We must keep our house, our room, our surroundings clean. We see nowadays that people keep their house clean, but they will go outside their door and dump so much rubbish outside. So therefore, this idea of cleanliness is very, very important. And students especially, I see that in their rooms, so many parents always complain to me that our children are very unclean. They don't keep their things tidy. So this is a very important practice and value that you must inherit in your life. Be clean, and also internally, which means to try to keep the mind pure by good thoughts. That is possible when you engage in some spiritual practices like chanting the names of God and so on. And we will see something about that at the end. The third quality is called mercy. Mercy means that we must be kind, we must be compassionate, we must not be cruel, we must not be harsh towards anybody. So, especially nowadays we find people are very cruel to the animals, or they are cruel to each other. So, mercy is something that can be in our actions, in our words. So, kindness is very important. And actually, when the next time you get angry with somebody, you should immediately remember that the antidote to anger is kindness or compassion. So try to be kind to that person rather than being angry. Because if you are angry, it will spoil your intelligence and make you act in ways that you will regret later. Now, each of these is a topic in itself. It is sufficient for one lecture. For each of these topics, we can have one lecture. But naturally, the time does not permit us. So I will quickly go to the next topic, which is humility. Humbleness. We should not become proud and arrogant. This is also something that we see many times in India also. People are very arrogant. They speak in such a proud way. And we all know that if somebody is very egoistic, then we don't like to be in that person's presence. If somebody is very humble, then it feels so nice to be in that person's presence. So humbleness or humility means to not desire recognition for ourselves, to not want all sorts of awards and to be honored by others. And generally, when we have a lot of something, it is easier to be proud. But then one can also be proud if one has nothing. There is a saying in English, even the pauper is proud of his penny. So therefore, one should be very cautious that one does not become proud. One should remain humble. And this is also connected to truth, because if you understand what is the value of my intelligence, my education, my wealth, my beauty, my power in this world, at any one moment I can suddenly die. I am completely a puppet in the hands of nature. And now we are seeing in the times of the coronavirus. So what is happening? So one heart attack or one little accident, everything will be over. So many people have been killed in plane accidents and car accidents. It happens. So anything can happen anytime. So we should understand that we are not the controllers. God is the ultimate controller. So this should make us feel very humble. One time there was a very proud scholar and he called himself Sarvagya. Sarvagya means one who knows everything. And he had a lot of his disciples and he would go from place to place to get some disciples. So there was one small boy, 5 years old, but he was very intelligent and saintly. So when he saw this ego in this person, he went up to him with a handful of dust. He said, "You are claiming that you are Sarvagya, you know so much. So can you tell me how many particles of dust are there in the palm of my hand?" And because it was a small child who was speaking, the scholar became struck with wonder. And he realized that, yes, I do not know this. And the child said, "So do not be so proud. Our knowledge, our qualities are only very limited, very, very tiny. So what are we in the scheme of this whole universe? We are nothing. Therefore, there is no scope for being proud." So the scholar became very humble and he realized. And he said, "Actually, this boy is like my guru." So we should become humble. If we don't become humble, then nature has its way of making us humble. The next is that we should give respect to all. Humility that I mentioned earlier is called amanina. Amanina means not wanting any samman for oneself, respect. And the other part of it is manadena, to be willing to give respect to others. To the degree that we do not seek respect for ourselves, we will be willing to give respect to others. In any cultured society, it is important that we learn this value of respect. This is a value that is very fundamental to our culture and our society. So you see, it does not mean that if you do something and you get the thing of its own accord, then that is a bad thing. But you should not run after it. If it comes of its own accord because of your work and it happens to come, don't strive for it, don't hanker for it. And when it comes to you, when people respect you, don't become proud of it. Understand that ultimately we are all very tiny particles of God, and therefore we should remain humble. And in particular, respect is meant to be given to all people. We even respect an ant. What to speak of other elders and parents and teachers? Earlier it was the custom. The children would wake up in the house, they would go and touch the feet of their parents, or they would be very respectful towards their teachers or towards the elders. This is very much an important part of our culture. Because they are more knowledge than us, they are more qualified than us. They have the capacity to help us, to guide us. They have given so much for us. So therefore we must offer respect to everybody. The next is contentment. Contentment or santushti means that we should not be hankering for more and more and more. Nowadays the formula that people want is ye dil mange more, isn't it? They want more and more money, more money. They never are satisfied with whatever they have. If they have 10 lakh rupees, they want 50 lakh. If they have 50 lakh, they want 2 crores. In this way, there is no end to how much we may have. In my childhood, I remember reading some poem in which the poet says that if all the trees of this world were pens, and if the oceans of this world were ink, and if the sky was the paper, and using this pen, ink, and we were to write all our desires on the paper, that means on the sky, all the trees would get exhausted, the water would dry up, and there would be no place left in the sky, but our desires would still be there. We would still have many desires to fulfill. So this is the nature of the mind that is not santushta, that is not content. Contentment is greatest wealth. If you have many, many riches, but you're not content in heart, then you're actually poor. So whatever comes by arrangement of destiny in your life, with your honest hard work, we should be content and satisfied with that. Of course, I must point out here that this is not a formula for laziness. It does not mean because whatever wealth I will get in my life, it will come by destiny, therefore I will simply sit back and be lazy. No, because then that laziness will generate your further destiny. What it does mean is that you should work hard, but you should work hard with the right values in mind, doing the right things in the right manner for the right purpose, and then be satisfied at the end of it with whatever you get. You know how they capture monkeys? What they do is, when the monkey is in the tree, they put a little pitcher, a pot with a very narrow neck, and they take some delicious small fruits and they put it inside the pot. So the monkey is watching all this. And that pot is fixed to the ground. So then the person goes away, the monkey comes and puts its hand inside, and he grabs the fruits inside the pitcher, inside the pot with his hand. But now when he tries to take it out, he can't take it out because the neck of the pot is very narrow. But he's very greedy. He doesn't want to leave those fruits also. If he wants to bring his hand out, he should just leave the fruits and easily he can bring his hand out again. But he remains and he struggles and tries to take his hand out, keeping the fruits in his hand, and that is how he gets captured. So also, if we are not contented in life, we will also get captured by the snare of illusion and we will all become unhappy in our life. Now, next series, this is the last list of values. Simplicity, saralata. One should live simply. One should not try to live very flashy lifestyle, chamak tamak, yes? One should not unnecessarily want to show off to others. Just see how nice my living conditions are, my nice clothes, my house and my car, etc. One should live simply. You see, even if one has 10 houses, one has crores and crores of rupees, one can only eat this much rice and chapati and vegetable and fruit every day. One cannot eat more than that. So therefore, one should try to lead a simple life, understanding that there is much more to life than simply living a flashy lifestyle. Today, because living a flashy lifestyle is considered a status symbol, it is considered a sign of success and prestige. So everybody wants to live like that. And therefore, they do all sorts of unethical things to acquire all this. Yes? So, let us live a simple life. By simple life, it does not mean that you have to go and live in a hut in the forest. That only few sages can do. But in your house, wherever you are staying, try to reduce your wants. There is a difference between needs and wants. So reduce your wants. Try to reduce and live your life simply, and you will see that you will get much happiness with that. And simplicity also means simplicity in your behavior, in your conduct, which means you should not become political. You say one thing to somebody, but you mean something else. Or you say one thing about somebody to somebody else. You go and gossip and tell somebody else something bad about this person to the other person. So one should be very straightforward and simple in one's conduct as well. The next point is called equanimity or samatha. Samatha means that we should be equipoised in happiness and distress. We should not be too much disgusted with something, nor should be too much attached to something, because attachment is the cause of misery. Ichha parama dukkha. So ichha, they want more and more and more, then that leads to misery. So don't be attached. Asakti. Attachment is the root of misery. So while you may utilize the things of this world in an intelligent way, in a dharmic way, you should also learn to be little detached from them, understanding that at any moment they may be taken away from your life. They have been brought into your life by the kindness of God, and it may be taken away also by the kindness of God. So therefore we should try to be equipoised. And also similarly, if something is not pleasant, but it is required to be done, we should try to do that as well. Then we will come to sense control. Yes, sense control means that we should try to enjoy this world in a very regulated way. It is natural that we all want to have some degree of enjoyment. But that enjoyment must be such that it is not excessive and it must be proper. It should not be improper. In this way, once we control our senses and we enjoy life in a regulated and moderate way, that will also make us happy. The next point is belief in God. Nowadays, it is becoming fashionable to say that I don't believe in God. I am an atheist. Many people say like this. But if you just look at things around you, it is very illogical to think that this whole creation has come from nothing. Something cannot come from nothing. Something must come from something. So that something is God, who is the origin of everything. When there are laws, there must be a lawmaker. Laws cannot happen by themselves. Laws are not created by themselves or by chance. The law of gravity, for example. Even the laws of traffic here, red, green, yellow, somebody has made them. So one of our important values in our culture is that we must believe in God and we must try to live our life in accordance with His wishes to please Him. Then our life will become successful. Next is non-violence or ahimsa. Non-violence means not to put others in distress or misery or pain, including killing and other things. But even verbally, unnecessarily, we should not say anything to hurt people. We should not act in a way that will make people unhappy. But we need knowledge for that. What is real happiness and not happiness, we need to understand deeper. The next is forgiveness. Forgiveness, kshama, and tolerance are connected actually with each other. Forgiveness means that when people say bad things to us, we should tolerate it. We should forgive them. We should not keep in our heart and after 20 years also remember that this person said this about me. So one saint said something very nice at one time. He said, there are two things you should always remember and two things you should always forget. The two things you should always remember are the good things that others have done to you and the bad things that you have done to others. And the two things to always forget are the bad things that others have done to us and the good that we have done to others. So in this way, we will cultivate not just forgiveness and tolerance, but also gratitude. There are many things to say about these things, but I think I missed also austerity in the previous one. So I will just speak tapa, about austerity. Tapa means austerity, yes. So tapa means to accept voluntarily some rules and regulations in one's life for a future benefit. Now as students, all of you are doing this. You are all studying very hard and sometimes it may not be easy. It requires a lot of hard work. You may want to go somewhere and enjoy, do something, but if tomorrow is the exam, you have some submission, etc., then you have to work. So that is also a form of tapasya, because you are taking on some inconvenience willingly, because you know there is a higher benefit that will come later. So also, to, let us say, wake up early in the morning, that is a tapasya, but it is important for us to do that. To take a bath when we rise in the morning, that is also part of cleanliness. So this is important, and particularly tapo divyam, to perform some tapasya for some spiritual attainment. That is important. Okay, next please. Yeah, next. Okay, so how do we develop these values? Very quickly, I will just mention this. First and foremost, we have to keep good company. Be in the company of such friends who are also interested in developing dharmic values. Equally, avoid those so-called friends who are not at all interested in developing dharmic values. So both are important. When you go to a doctor will give you both positive and negative instructions. It is called vidhi and nishedh. Vidhi means you do this, you take this medicine, you do this, you take this. And nishedh means you don't take this, don't take sweets, don't take fried things. So similarly, accepting good company and avoiding bad company, both are very important. Then those values that I have mentioned earlier and others like them, we should consciously try to practice them also, even if we don't have them readily. Even if these things don't come naturally to us, we should still try to practice them. For example, tolerance, humility, and we will get plenty of opportunity to practice. Then next point is, we should try to understand spiritual wisdom. India is a land of spiritual culture, of spiritual wisdom. From time immemorial, we have had so many great saints here in this holy land. So many avatars have come. So many wonderful books of wisdom are available for us, like Bhagavad Gita, for example. So we should try to read and understand in the company of devotees. And finally, we should lead a regulated life. Sleep early in the night, wake up early in the morning, be clean, have regulated times and discipline in your life. And in this way, gradually you will see that you will be able to develop these values. So I will stop here. If you have any questions, then I will be happy to answer. You can come out of the... Yes. Well, come in the company of astics. In Hindi there is a saying, "Jaisa sanga vaisa rang." So if somebody is going to remain in the company of nastic, then he can never become an astic. So if somebody wants to move from nastic to astic, then there should be association of astic. How to face judgmental people. Yes. Yes. You see, people may be what they are. We cannot always control everybody around us. We cannot control the environment or the world. We cannot control how other people think or speak or act. But what we can control is how we think and act. So once you have understood these principles and values of dharma, then automatically these will guide you how to act in specific circumstances. Because even in a kind of situation that you are saying, the circumstances may be very different. There may be so many specific details. So you will understand when you develop these dharmic values how to deal with somebody. One time, one of our somebody I know who had newly taken to the spiritual path, he was explaining his experience. He says that he had a very quarrelsome nature earlier, and one time he was traveling by train, and somebody came and put his foot on the seat, and then he said earlier I would have just started fighting with him and it may have ended in I don't know what. But now that I had heard from Bhagavad Gita, I just told him very nicely, cheerfully. He immediately agreed and everything was nice and we became very friendly later. You see, so there are so many things in life. If we just keep in mind that there are certain principles and values that we should cherish, automatically your actions and your responses to how other people deal with you will become calibrated. You will understand how to do it. Thank you very much, and my best wishes to all of you. Thank you. Thank you.